Hello everyone and welcome to lesson 1 of cricket. Today we're going to be focusing on our fielding. So we're going to do lots and lots of drills that we can do in a small space or with walls and just tennis balls to look at how we can catch and field and potentially throw if you've got enough space. First of all, we're going to get on with a warm up and it should look a little bit like this. So this is a great one for our warm up. You get your cans or your cones or whatever you may have at home and set them up in a bit of a square. Okay, just make sure you've got a nice bit of space. When we're fielding, we want to be nice and low to the ground. So this is a great one to stay nice and low, nice wide base, and just get our feet moving if we need to go and collect the ball. Start with a ball on the cone or the can, and then you're just going to try and move it from one to the other. Again, you can make it as big or as small as you want, but we're nice and low. Try and steer in one position so you're looking one way rather than turning around. And we're just here, there, nice and low. Moving to another one, back into the middle. Okay, here, cross. Making sure we're staying nice and low in a nice position. Imagine we're catching or about to field something that's coming towards us, and then you're just doing it there. Other things that you can do is set up different types of cans or different coloured cones and get someone to call them for you. So rather than just doing it randomly, so here, it might be like a red cone there, so red to blue, okay, or something like that. Give that a go as you warm up. It's a nice one to get that blood flowing and the heart rate up. So once we've done our warm up, we're going to get into some real basic catching. We're going to look at how we have our hands ready to catch the ball and think about what position we're going to get into, ready to then try and catch it to make it easier for us with a nice stable base. So it should look something like this. Okay, so it's our catching. As I said, we tend to call it the kind of English way of catching and the Australian way of catching as well. Both can be effective and they both have their pros and cons, but it is kind of personal preference in terms of how you do them. Give that a go, try and do it harder or a little bit softer depending on how easy you're finding it. But again, as I said, just challenge yourself in those little videos that we just did there to make sure that you really practice that. It's so important that you make sure that you put a lot of time and effort into those catches. Next, we're going to move on to some ground fielding, which again is really important. So when the ball's being hit at us, making sure it's a good low position to try and stop the ball, to make sure it doesn't go through you to give runs to the batsman. So again, you need your tennis ball, you need to make sure you find it a good open space to try and stop it, and then give these drills a go. Great, hopefully you found that really useful. Again, it's really important that we make sure we stay in a nice low position as well. And it's something we'll maybe look at in the next couple of lessons is what we call our long barrier as well. But just wanted to try and make sure we're in those good low positions to try and stop the ball from getting past you. And then we'll move on to the more specific skills in later lessons. We're going to now combine those two. So we're going to combine the catching and the ground fielding. Okay, so mix them both together. And we're going to look at how we can then attack an object target with then our throw. So making sure that we again combine it nice and low, react to collecting the ball, and then look at throwing it towards the target. Give this a try. So that concludes our fielding for today. Hopefully you enjoyed those drills. You can be as creative as you want with them. You can do obviously different things, you can throw it at different objects, set up some little obstacles, whatever you want to do, but just try and be as creative as you can to try and make sure you're being challenged. Throw it harder, throw it softer, depending on whether you're finding it easier or harder. We will look into a little bit more detail in terms of where we want our arm position to be when we throw. As I said, that long barrier before, you might want to do a little bit of research on that because that's very, very useful in terms of how we can stop the ball from going past us, especially if it's a little bit harder. But just give those a go and we'll look at a little bit more detail of our fielding, like I said, as well as our batting and our bowling as well. Hope you enjoyed it and look forward to seeing you next week.